So I think there's clearly not a huge focus on recruitment within the industry, and rightly so. It's not your jobs. It's probably a very small part of what you have to do. But at the same time, if you don't have a strategy for recruitment or you have a weak one, you're running quite a large risk by not acquiring the people or acquiring the wrong people. It's evident that other industries are being more successful at it. I sit in an office with 90% of IT consultants, and the way that they recruit is vastly different to the way that we do. They're very engaging. They get young people excited about it, and there's a lot of communication between end client through to consultant through to candidate, and it's quite fun actually to see it. Whereas although the quarrying industry is modernising, other industries are modernising along with their recruitment process, whereas this industry maybe is modernising, but the recruitment process is getting a little bit left behind. And it's leaving it quite one-sided for candidates. They're doing quite a lot of the work. They're taking the time out to apply to jobs, attend interviews, and maybe not getting as much as we think back from it. So what I've actually done is collate some information from people that I speak to within the industry who are going through this process right now, and the things that they're facing and how they actually feel about it. So play along with me a little bit. Pretend that you're this person. Put yourselves in their shoes. So you see a job, most likely on Agnet. Take the time out, write up a CV, look at what they're looking for, think you're very suitable for it, or maybe you're not, but you apply anyway, you take that time. Then you notice the closing date. You think, oh, that's a month, 2 months away. So you set yourself a reminder, and you sit back and hope for the best, just get on with your life, really. By the time that the closing date comes around, you might have forgotten about this. One man said to me that he had literally set himself a reminder, his phone had buzzed, and he thought, oh, completely forgot about that. At this point, whoever's looking through these CVs has got hundreds of CVs to look through. I know I do. When I post an advert, I genuinely have had a mushroom picker apply to a quarry manager role. So only knows what this man has to sift through until he gets to your CV. If you are successful, you get a call, asked to attend an interview, you go along, have a great time there, I'd imagine. But then again, you leave. And then ultimately you find out if you're successful or not. There's very little communication throughout this. And if you aren't invited to attend an interview, you're not being told why, or if you're not being successful, again, you might get an excuse. Someone else was more qualified, someone else was just better, we got along with them better. There's nothing really constructive that's going to help move these people forward within the industry, which is going to keep it quite stagnant. At the same time, on average, these people are finding that it's taking up to 3 months to find out if they're successful in a job. That's not only a waste of their time, and other things can happen in that time. Either they lose interest or someone like me comes along and finds them another job. But at the same time, it's a huge waste of your time. You've got 3 months of finding someone for your business, and then maybe another 3 months until they can start. There's not necessarily that time spare anymore. At the end of the day, the people who are at the higher end of the talent pool for within the industry just simply will not wait that long. Something else is going to come along. They're going to get approached by other opportunities. They're not going to wait that long. And you run a huge risk of losing out on these people. And we don't want that, obviously. You want the best people working for you. Of course you do. Here is where I want to deviate slightly from what I had planned, because I think you all know the cost of getting it wrong. It's a waste of time. There's resources that you're paying for. So we don't really need to talk about that. But what I would like to actually do is, I don't know if many of you were here yesterday, but something that was mentioned was a lack of diversity within the industry and how that can be changed. And that hit something inside of me a little bit, because I had something happened a couple of months ago for me. I was working with a smaller company down on the southwest coast, and I'd gone down and met them. They were a great bunch of guys, fun people, fun office to be around. And they weren't recruiting, but they were sort of like, if the right people come along, of course, we're going to be interested because we want our business to be the best. I went back to my office and had hundreds of CVs to look through. And when I'm looking at CVs, I'm not looking at names, ages, addresses. I just look at their skills and what they've done and what they've achieved. And this CV came across my desk, and this person had been out in Australia. They had a mining degree, but had moved into quarry management. And for the last 3 years, had been a quarry manager on quite a large site out in Western Australia, but was over in the UK now working as a surfing instructor. It really confused me because I was like, this person has got great skills. How are they not employed over here? So I called them up. It turned out to be a 20-something girl with European descent but had been out in Australia. And I said, what are you doing at the moment? Why are you being a sailing instructor or surfing instructor? She just said, well, I've moved over here and I have no idea how to get into the industry, where to start. There's no jobs posted. No one that I know knows anything. And she was just sort of dumbfounded. So she was working as a surfing instructor at the same time doing a master's in project management. We talked about her skills and what she was looking for, and she was just so passionate about quarrying. And I just thought, how can this person not have been approached yet? So in the end, I rang back up to my client who was on the South Coast and said, look, I know you're not recruiting, but this young, incredible girl is on the market, untapped at the moment. Do you want to see her? And they just snapped her up, and within 2 weeks, she'd got the job, and she's now happily employed as a quarry manager down there. So there are those people out there, those diverse young females who are not just females, but young, diverse people who are so interested and passionate about the industry, but don't know that these opportunities are out there. And I want to be able to open it up to more people and make people aware of what's going on and what sort of things that they can do, and want this excitement that these people that I speak to have transfer back into the industry. So, specialist recruitment, I know people must get called up all the time. I'm a recruiter, go away. I would if people were calling me up. But it is actually, I don't want to come in and you give me all your jobs and me send you hundreds of CVs. It's actually acting as an extension of your business. We become, not me necessarily, but all specialist agencies who work within a particular field end up becoming an extension of your business, an added face. They're just as passionate about your companies as you are if you take the time to go and actually meet them. And obviously all the background information is what they do, isn't necessarily what you need to know. But there is a lot that goes into it. Of course, we advertise, everybody does, resourcing, headhunting, and ultimately actually qualifying people. If you have a need, if you take the time to tell someone what that need is, someone then can go and speak to people, and maybe a quarry manager will call up and they're not quite right. We have the opportunity to tell them that and explain why and assist them elsewhere. But what the most important thing is that a consultancy can do for you is actually manage the recruitment process. And process is something that's talked about a lot in this industry. Everyone has to follow a process, whatever they're doing. And I know you all know the meaning of it, but I just want to think about it for a second. It is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. So I didn't pick this picture, but in the industry, you wouldn't go out into a quarry and lay explosives or do your blasting or shot firing or whatever it is, I don't know all the technical terms, without having a process in place. You wouldn't just let someone loose and blow it all up and hope for the best. And in asphalt, you wouldn't mix a batch of asphalt without having a recipe, as I've been told it's called, or the same thing, a process, because the end result isn't going to be what you need. It should be no different for recruitment, because if you don't have a process, the end result and the person that you get in isn't going to be able to do the job. Or they're going to be rubbish, there's going to be a lack of morale, something's going to go wrong without this process. So just one of the ways that a consultancy would be able to help you, if you were open to it, is managing that process for you. So I want to go back into the shoes of a candidate again, imagining we're looking for a job, but now with the added benefit of using a consultancy who knows your business and knows what you're looking for. They apply for a job, which I don't think is actually fair, because I think 5% of the people that I've worked with have actually applied for my positions. A lot of it comes down to other avenues, resourcing, headhunting. But essentially what happens is they get qualified. They'd have a talk with someone on the phone, not about a company at all, but about what they're looking for, what their skills are, what you as a candidate actually want and where you want to be. Then we'd be able to advise them, give them some options, hopefully. And at that point, because we know what our clients are looking for, we'd send a CV, say, look, this guy's great for the business. And if you have that faith in the agency of your choice, you'd know that they're going to be right, or they're going to be worth an interview at least, because you've taken that time just once, to explain to them what you're looking for. So this person comes in, you already know that they know about the business, they've been told how exciting it is, how much of a good opportunity it is. And you go to that interview, you've been told about the manager, you know what he likes, you know if he likes surfing or sailing or whatever he might like, because we know that. You find out if you're successful or not. This is where it becomes really important, because if you're not successful, the client, well, you as a manager now, you wouldn't have to say to them, you've not been successful, and maybe skirt around the fact a little bit about why they haven't been. You'd be able to go to someone else and look, say, he was absolutely rubbish, he can't do anything right, and we'd be able to transfer that into a constructive way. And I don't need to lie. I can say to people, they thought you were rubbish, or you don't have the skills for this job, I'm sorry, let's look at some other options. And it becomes quite a constructive way of doing it. In the same light, as a client, you tell someone you have a vacancy, say, Jim, I really need your help to find a quarry manager, or whatever you need. We need someone who's active, can do shot firing, or whatever you need them to be able to do. Then that's it, you sit back. You obviously go through your own necessary means as well, but you have this added support there as well. So you have a vacancy, you get these CVs sent through, and they're going to be appropriate, because otherwise you're working with a rubbish agency. And you get to interview these guys who you already know there's some of what they do is going to be right for what you're looking for. You already know that. Then you make a decision. And everything outside of that is being done for you and managed for you. So that's just one of the ways that using an agency or utilising the tools around you can be beneficial. And I'm never going to sit here and say, don't advertise yourself, or don't use your word of mouth, or don't ask your mate Bob if he knows anyone, because that would be crazy. You should obviously go and do that. But what I do want you to think about is what else you can be doing, not just relying on the candidates now, what you can do to get these people in. Maybe using a consultancy is the way forward. By entering with a partnership, and it is a partnership with a consultancy, you need to trust and believe that they can aid you in achieving the goals that you've set out, and the goals that were spoken about yesterday and this morning, and that is attracting the right people and seeming exciting to the people within the industry. You need to believe and trust in the person that you're working with. So I would recommend massively to find a consultancy that you can trust. Choose wisely. Meet agencies, meet the people. If you don't like your agent, then you're not going to trust what they're doing. So let them wine and dine you. Let them take you out for Christmas dinners, or if they offer, obviously. And then there are some monkeys in the industry, in the recruitment industry, who will turn up and say, look, Mr. Client, I know everything about quarrying. I'm going to be able to find you the best candidates. Don't trust them. Make sure that you do believe them. Ask them questions. What do you know about quarrying? What type of people do you work with? Get to know them as well and build up a relationship with them, so you end up getting to the point where you can go, Jim, I need a quarry manager. You know what I like. Find me someone. Then you don't have to wait those 3 months to be able to get that person in. You can sit back, get on with your job. You're all busy, important people. You can do all that stuff that you need to do and know that you have that trust and relationship around you to be able to end up a month max later with someone handing in their notice, excited and ready to come and work for you. So just choose wisely and know and trust that there are people who can help you with your recruitment and getting those diverse, exciting, young, brilliant people into your businesses. Do you have any questions? If not, I've got a stand over there. You can come and talk to me if you like. That's me. Thank you.
you.